For nearly a decade, if you dared to fix your own iPhone, Apple declared war on you. Proprietary screws designed to keep you out, and serialized parts disabled features even when you used genuine Apple components. Apple wanted to be the only entity that could touch their devices. They sued repair shops and programmed iPhones to reject parts that didn't come directly from Apple's factories. This is the story of the iPhone repair community Apple hated. When the original iPhone was released, you could call it a sealed fortress. There was no removable battery or user-serviceable parts. If something broke, you didn't fix it. You either went to Apple or you bought a new one. And this wasn't unusual in 2007, but it set a precedent that the iPhone was just an appliance and not a device you owned and maintained. Apple continued this in 2010 with the iPhone 4 because the phone had a new type of screw, which was pentalobe screws, not the usual phillips screws. Pentalobe screws were a 5-pointed screw design that required a specialized tool, and Apple claimed it was for design aesthetics. But in reality, it was to keep people out. What I mean by this is you couldn't open an iPhone 4 with a standard screwdriver. You needed a pentalobe driver. But guess what? They weren't sold in stores. Apple essentially said, this device is not yours to open. And for years, Apple employed the void if tampered strategy. If you opened your iPhone at an independent repair shop, you would have a warranty void forever. And if you broke your screen at a local technician, Apple would never touch your phone again, even if the repair was successful or the shop used quality parts. Apple's policy was absolute. If anyone but Apple or an Apple authorized service provider opened your device, it was deemed contaminated and untouchable. And this created a massive underground repair economy. Websites like iFixit started publishing teardown guides, showing people exactly how to open iPhones, showing where the screws were, how to disconnect cables and replace screens or batteries. YouTube channels also emerged teaching repair techniques, whilst companies like eBay sold replacement parts, and specialized tools like the rare pentalobe drivers were reverse engineered and mass-produced. An entire ecosystem formed around fixing devices that Apple insisted couldn't be fixed. And Apple hated it because they wanted control. Because having more control would make them more money. Screen replacements would cost $200 to $300 at Apple stores, and independent shops charged half that. Apple could also plan obsolescence, because if repairs were difficult and expensive, people bought new phones instead of fixing old ones. But the black box era was just the beginning, because things were about to get much worse. In February 2016, iPhone users around the world woke up to a nightmare. Their phones were bricked and unusable due to error 53. What happened was an iOS update detected unauthorized Touch ID repairs and killed the phones entirely. There was no fix or recovery. The iPhone 6 and 6S had Touch ID built into the home button, and if you broke your screen, the home button often broke too. Independent repair shops replaced screens and home buttons, and the repairs were perfectly fine, so customers were happy. But then came an iOS update. Apple's software detected that the Touch ID sensor wasn't the original one paired to that specific phone, and thousands of phones would not work. Apple claimed it was for security, with their official statement, "We protect fingerprint data using secure enclave technology. When someone other than Apple changes the home button, security is compromised." In summary, if you let anyone but Apple repair your phone, we will destroy it. The backlash was crazy, and Apple eventually backed down, and they released a software update that unbricked iPhones, but Touch ID remained disabled forever. The damage was already done. Apple had shown their hand, how they would use software to enforce hardware control. But error 53 was just the start, because starting with the iPhone 7 and accelerating with the iPhone X and later models, Apple implemented parts pairing. And parts pairing is where every component, screen, battery, camera, Face ID module, has a unique serial number paired to the phone's logic board. And if you replace a screen with a genuine Apple screen from another iPhone, the phone detects the serial number mismatch and disables features. Two notable examples are replacing the screen or battery. When replacing the screen, True Tone color adjustment would stop working, and the message "Unable to verify display" would appear. After replacing the battery health information would disappear, and the message "Unable to verify this iPhone has genuine Apple battery" would appear. It got to a point where iPhone settings became a minefield of scary warnings. The warnings were designed to make users panic, to make them think something was dangerously wrong and push them back to Apple to buy a new phone, which is smart but also kind of sad. And this left independent repair shops with an impossible situation. They couldn't get genuine Apple parts, and if they used third-party parts, customers got warnings. But if they used genuine parts from donor phones, customers still got warnings because of parts pairing. No matter what they did, Apple's software made them look incompetent. This led to Louis Rossmann, a repair shop owner in New York, becoming the face of resistance. His YouTube channel documented Apple's anti-repair tactics. He showed viewers how parts pairing worked, and he explained why these policies were anti-consumer. He taught people board-level repair and showed that Apple's unrepairable devices could be fixed with skill and knowledge. He became a catalyst for the right to repair movement. By 2020, the conflict had escalated to outright warfare. Apple controlled everything. They could make your phone reject parts, all through software updates. But things were finally about to change. The right to repair movement, it started earlier, but by 2021, it had momentum. Because iPhone users were fed up with Apple's control. They argued that if you buy something, you should be able to fix it, or have it fixed by whoever you choose. State by state, right to repair bills were introduced. Nebraska, Massachusetts, New York, and California all had the same goal: to force companies to provide parts and repair manuals to independent shops and consumers. And Apple fought them all, spending millions against right to repair laws. They continued their usual arguments of security and safety risks, but we all knew what the real reason was. And in November 2021, Apple shockingly announced the self-service repair program, where customers could now order genuine parts and tools directly from Apple to repair their own devices. It seemed like Apple had finally given in, and people actually tried to use it. But when it launched in April 2022, it was a complete joke. To replace an iPhone battery, you needed to rent a 79-pound toolkit with over 100 components shipped to your house. The cost was terrible. Parts were often as expensive as just paying Apple to do the repair, and it was only available in the United States. The program was technically a right-to-repair solution, but it was deliberately designed poorly. But the fight continued, and in March 2024, Oregon passed a landmark right-to-repair law. And the key provision was that parts pairing was banned, so companies could not use software to disable features when non-original parts are used, and they cannot prevent third-party repairs through software locks. Oregon had just made Apple's primary anti-repair tactic illegal, and Apple responded 6 months later. They announced they will now allow used genuine parts in repairs. The EU's right to repair directive and eco-design requirements pushed even harder, and Apple couldn't ignore the EU market, so they had to comply. In September 2024, with the iPhone 16 announcement, iPhones had the standard dual entry design, which was introduced with the iPhone 14, so you could open the phone from the front or the back. And this mattered for battery replacements. Previously, replacing a battery required removing the screen first. It was risky because cables could tear or displays could crack. But now, if you remove the back glass, you can access the battery directly and replace it safely. This was Apple complying with EU regulations requiring user-replaceable batteries by 2027. And as of March 2026, the iPhone 17e represents the climax of the repair wars, where parts can be removed without heat guns or dangerous adhesive solvents, whilst having accessible screws, unlike 2010. And with iOS 26, instead of disabling features, iPhones now display parts and service history in settings. It tells you genuine Apple part or unknown part, but at least the phone works. Apple still tracks what's in your phone, but at least they don't punish you anymore. The iPhone repair community that Apple hated achieved something remarkable. They fought a $1 trillion corporation, and they won. Because the iPhone 17e is more repairable than any iPhone in history. From 2007 to 2026, the battle over iPhone repairs changed how we think about ownership. Do you own your phone, or do you just license it from Apple? If buying isn't owning, then what is it? This story proved when people fight for what's right, they can win, even against one of the biggest companies in the world.